y'all showing up empty-handed. I mean, not even a pen, nothing. The workshop should be the test, not the trial. This is a sport. You will be exerting energy. You will need to replenish. Never have you ever watched any HBCU dance line and they didn't wear makeup. If there's no conditioning and they just start doing choreography, get up out of there. Welcome to the Major Business Podcast, where we talk all things auxiliary dance from strategy, structure, leadership, performance, and training. And I'm your host, Vershion Lee, and I can't wait to get into it with y'all today. But today is very different because we're going to do a solo episode. All right, so it's just gonna be us today, okay? It's just gonna be us. We're gonna have a great discussion. And I just want you guys to make sure you really lock in because it's some very valuable information. And please make sure you go and share it. That's gonna be really important. Each one teach one. Okay, so enough for I don't need to give you guys any introduction on me. If you want to find out more about me, Corey you dance, or how we even got started with the podcast, you can roll on back to episode 1 and find all of that out. And then in the midst of that, just finish watching all the rest of them leading up to today's episode, which is going to be about don't take another workshop, okay? Do not hear me clearly. Do not take another workshop until you continue listening because I got some news for y'all. Okay. There are so many things that we need to do prior to showing up to the workshop. And we, as in the dancers, okay? Now, while I am a coach mentor, I do want to make sure because I can relate to you guys because, of course, I am a dancer. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all 5 things that you need to do before you go to the next workshop. Don't go to another workshop, another camp, another whatever clinic. Don't go to another one until you've done these 5 things. And then I want to see you there killing it. First up, I'd say to make sure that you have a true training regimen. The training regimen will take care of itself when you arrive to the workshop. But before you go there, you have to already have something in place. Something that you're going to do on a regular basis to take care of your training. That's technique, that's conditioning, building your stamina, flexibility, all the things you're going to need to work on that, your performance quality. These are things that you would need to be working on before you get to the workshop. Not at the workshop, not after the workshop. Before you arrive, these are things you gotta already have in place. Your training regimen should include your technique. Okay, so working on you're in jazz classes, you're in ballet classes, leaps and turns, you're in modern class. Make sure you're in some foundational classes for technique. Aside from that, you need to have stamina to be able to endure all the things that you would need to do at these workshops and tryouts, right? Additionally, you want to make sure you are working on your flexibility. Okay. So, and not just the legs, because we think that we just got to stretch, we hit splits and things, not just the legs. We have to think about you need your back needs to be flexible, your ankle needs to be flexible, your foot needs to be flexible. Those are, you still need to work on other things outside of just flexibility in the legs and just being able to do a split. There's lots of other, we want to do these nice layouts, right? Well, we want to do these nice layouts and we want to be the tail and shine. Well, we're going to need to make sure those backs are flexible. Okay. So there are lots of things that we need to do prior to showing up. Additionally, performance qualities. Again, showing up to the workshop, there's always going to be a performance element at the workshop. And you don't want to have a great class. And then when it's time for the choreography, because everybody always starts with a warm up and a progression across the floor, right? So you want to make sure that you're going to look great performing the actual steps. and not just have the steps. What does your face look like? What is your body engaged? Like, are you intentional with your movements? There's a lot of things that you need to work on before you arrive. So again, build your training regimen, already have something set, have a plan in place where you're going to be training at set place, however many, whatever the frequency, whatever the frequency is going to be for the training that you're going to do, who you're going to contact for the training, who's going to be doing the training, where you're going to be doing the training. We can train in a studio setting, okay, like taking classes. We can train with do private lessons with a particular person, or we can do some small group privates because some people offer those too. There are lots of different ways that you can do this, but you need a combination, like a hybrid of all. You don't need to only do privates. Okay, so again, when we're building our training regimen, we want to make sure we have a hybrid of a sprinkle of privates, because you do need to make sure you find out the little trinkets of things that you personally need to work on. Make sure you're getting personal feedback, but also then go and apply that to a small group or a large group class setting, not the workshop, class setting, to then apply those skills to have these things in place so that when you arrive to the workshop should be the test, not the trial. Get yourselves together. All right. So just make sure you're already prepared for the things before you arrive. So, number one, we want to make sure before we go to another workshop, we want to make sure that we have a real, true plan, a training regimen or a training plan. Number two, we want to make sure we do our homework. Now, doing your homework will look like finding out who all gonna be over there. Okay, who are going to be over there. So we need to know obviously who's teaching. Most times that's the first thing we can see on the flyer. They'll show, the people that'll be teaching. So whether they're current HBCU dancers, whether they are former HBCU dancers, whatever the case may be, right? Whether they're coaches or whomever will be master teachers, whatever the situation is, we want to make sure we know exactly who's going to be in the room. Okay, who's going to be in the room? We also need to know a little bit more about the host or the organization that's actually presenting said workshop. We need to dig a little deeper, okay? Because we like to say, "Oh, I'm going to the such and such workshop." Okay, but we might say the person's name or whatever, but we need to make sure it's connected or tied to a person, a host, a organization of some kind. We need to be aware of who they are. We cannot just show up and not know who to contact, who to this, that, and the other. Do your due diligence, So before arriving, make sure you are connected to whomever is a part of this particular workshop or function or camp or whatever you are planning to attend. Also, you need to know the itinerary. What you gonna be doing when you get there? These are very important things to know. I have seen way too many times, way too often. I see dancers arrive at the particular location or at the class, and then they're asking questions, simple questions like, what's next, or who's teaching that, or who is this, or so I'm the information that I'm giving is because I've experienced it, I've lived it, and we're asking a lot of questions on site. But we've at that point we've already paid our money, so before we pay the money, we need to know what's happening. And inside of these workshops, in the itinerary, it should state if you're going to be warming up, some type of conditioning. If there's no conditioning and they just start doing choreography, get up out of there. Okay, get up out of there. They do not value your body, your instrument at all. Okay, but I haven't seen that very often. I have seen it before. I haven't seen that very often. But just be aware. But when you arrive or before you arrive, you want to make sure the itinerary tells you if there will be some type of mock audition attached to this, right? If there's a mock audition option, let's take it. Okay. If there's a feedback session, let's stay. If there's a any type of talk back or discussion, yeah, you want to be present for that. You want to be present for that because you need to hear not only what they have to say to you, but what they're saying to others, notes that they are giving to others, because sometimes you can also apply that to yourself. It makes you more aware of what's happening and what's necessary to make it to the next level, because perhaps they only gave each person two notes. They probably had the same note for you, but they gave you the most pertinent two. Okay. And there's sometimes that may not be specific notes, but just take the general notes that are given. This is not the time you finish the choreography and then you're gonna go home. Okay, so let's also prioritize staying the entire time and we're not leaving and carrying on. That's a bit much. I've seen it. And it's also very unprofessional. Also a part of this, we want to make sure in our homework we know if these people that we're dealing with, again, the host, the organization, or whomever, is going to be professional in that setting. If you're trying to reach them and they're not responding, perhaps that's a little unprofessional, right? Perhaps you may have a question, but before you ask a question or attempt to ask a question, you also want to make sure, again, you've read the information that's been sent. Read your email and read the information that they've sent to make sure the question hasn't already been answered. And should you have a question beyond that, then you want to make sure you send the email, an appropriate email with, subject heading, person's actual email, and addressing the people in the body of the email appropriately. Okay? So these things are, they matter because we these this is part of our first impression. Okay? So they matter because we don't want to be the person that doesn't know. Or she keep asking me all these questions. I can't wait to meet this girl because why does she keep asking me all these questions? Or who is this emailing me and they don't, so it's just, you just need to make sure that you are leaving great impressions. Asking questions, there's nothing wrong with that, but let's make sure the answer wasn't already given before we ask the questions. But most times this information is inside of the itinerary that's already sent, that's in our email, so we just need to make sure we're reading the emails. You want to know if it's going to be they're just going to be teaching choreography. Will there be some skills involved? Will they be doing across the floor? Will they be teaching that again? There's lots of things that can happen in the setting, but you need to know before you go what's going to happen in the setting. And then make sure you're prepared to do those things as far as your dance bag, including all the things necessary. So making sure you have your shoes, correct shoes. Make sure you got heels, jazz shoes, character shoes, all the shoes. Okay. Make sure you have an additional outfit. If they said to wear all black, wear all black. If they didn't say to wear all black, then you need to make sure that you have something that's going to give a pop of color. You want to make sure you can stand out. So, these things got to be inside of your bag. You need to be prepared for whatever. Okay. Being prepared does make you stand out, because while everybody else is scrambling and looking crazy, you already got it. You need a little snack. Don't go anywhere without water. Don't go to any dance thing without a water, because at the end of the day, this is a sport. You will be exerting energy. You will need to replenish. So just make sure you have all of these things, a bandage of some kind. Now, we don't want to anticipate injuries. We hope we don't get injured, but should something happen, some K tape, some medicine, maybe some pain medicine, something. We need to have something, because and acknowledge if these things are happening to us when we get there. But again, before we arrive, all of this stuff has to be prepared inside of our bags, because y'all showing up empty handed. I mean, not even a pen, nothing. Nothing. Phone in your hand, and then that's it. Okay, we have got to be more prepared, because trust and believe, when you walk in with no bag, nothing, everybody, we're all looking like, where's she going? You know? So no judgment. It's just a wonder. And then we have to then dig and find out where you coming from, because ain't no way. Because our kids would never. Okay, so just make sure you are prepared. Do your homework first. Who all gonna be over there? That's what you need to know. What they gonna be doing? Who, what, when, where, how? All right. So number two was to do your homework and do your due diligence. Number three, number three, talk to your coach. I don't know why y'all think y'all sneaking around. We know each other, all of us. So you're not sneaking nowhere. As a matter of fact, it will behoove you, it would benefit you most to share with your coach that you're going to said workshop. Okay. Oftentimes, or to said class or whatever. Oftentimes, you guys are going to the classes and not having the conversation. We find out later, or we're there when you get there, and then it's like, why you here? Now, now we welcome, of course, training of all and any kind. And we're excited that you decided to show up. But at the same time, sometimes everything ain't for everybody. Okay. It's just not. Everything is not for everybody. So we may have other plans. Usually on a team, a coach and dancer has already discussed what their goals are specifically to each person. Private conversation. So if we've already discussed what track we're on and what we're working on, sometimes you make choices to go places that are outside of what we discussed. And while we are excited, the toolbox is important. It's important that you try new things, but oftentimes these things happen at the same time, especially when we get to summer. So workshops, they stack on top of each other, camps, they stack on top of each other. So we may have a preference of you going to this place versus that place. Also, they cost, right? They're not free usually. So we may have a preference in where your time will be best spent. So if when we're investing in this type of information, when we're taking our time to write a plan to figure these things out for you, it's just a little disheartening when you choose to do or you choose otherwise. And then it's like, well, that's not what we discussed. And if your plans or your goals have changed, then of course that's a conversation we need to have now, because now I feel like maybe something's different and you didn't tell me. But also, we want to be supportive. So if you're going and we're excited about it, right? Because oftentimes we are, we're just glad you're going. We're just glad you want to go somewhere. Because some of the girls lazy, they don't want to do nothing. So we're very excited that you are willing to, and to spend your money, spend your time outside of practice at these different workshops that the HBCU dances or whomever coaches and whomever organizations are hosting. But we just want to make sure we're on the same page. Because baby, we'll pull up. We will pull up and be your biggest supporter, your best cheerleader. But we need to know. And let's not make it a secret. So please make sure, number three, you are talking to your coach. If you don't have a coach, call me. Just call me. But ain't no way. And I'm talking community teams, high school teams, whomever. You got to make sure you're talking to your coach. Again, if you don't have a coach or one that can provide sound advice about what you should do, well, now we got to reach out to organizations like Choreo You Dance, right? To find out to get more advice or input about what you should do, what will be best for your interests, and go from there. And your area, because obviously things happen in different regions of the United States. All right, so that was number three. Then also let's add the whole conditioning your body. Number four, we're going to make sure that we are conditioned. We spoke a little bit about it earlier when we talked about your training regimen, but yeah, it's too many times have I been at workshops where dancers are becoming injured from overuse of limbs and muscles and different things because they just are tired and they really can't execute properly. And so now we're breaking down. This hurt, that hurt. We're not hydrating. We're not conditioned though. And these things happen before we show up. Before we arrive to the workshop, We have to already be running and cross training. So, not just the technical aspects, but we need to make sure we're not going to be winded. So your stamina has to be, and this, all of this happens inside. If you're a part of a team, they are conditioning. I know for a fact. I've talked to way too many coaches. I know that there's conditioning happening in these practice settings, but for some odd reason, we don't invest in that. We don't fully commit to the actual warm up. And this is how come we wait, we wait till the warm up is over. We just kind of, we got to go to the bathroom, whatever's happening, right? Because we ready for the next thing. We're trying to get to the cross the floor, the progressions. We're trying to get to the choreography. So we're not fully committed to the warm up. And then we'll go straight to the stretch though. It's time through the splits and all the things. We're ready for that. And we're just going to have to commit to the warm up. That's the part we got to learn how to love, because if we don't commit to it, this is how come we break down. We can't last. You know how long and hot those games are? So, and hot. Let me add, it's hot. So, again, you have to be conditioned, and it just includes so many variables. Again, the water, the running, the cross training, the fluid, the not just the fluids, but also the food that we eat or not eat. um a lot of these things come into play. We need to condition our bodies to make sure we're prepared to last. If the workshop is 4 hours and we can only do an hour before we're over it, that's crazy, but the money is spent. And I just see too often the girls just, parents not there, right? Because they dropped you off and they think you're going to be there dancing for 4 hours. And they're just going to come back in 4 hours. Meanwhile, you only dance one, maybe 30 minutes. And then you were like, yeah, I'm good. It's lazy. It's giving lazy. And parents should also make sure you're checking in, asking for feedback when your dancers are going to these spaces, because we don't have time. Be honest. I'm gonna be real honest. At, as a professional in this industry and have hosted classes and things, we really can't just call every single. I'm gonna call your mama, because these kids are not on our teams. These are not our personal kids. So inquire. Did my child? And you know your child. Ask, did my child participate? Or when you drop them off, if my child don't participate, can you call me? Now we're looking to see, because if you told me to call you, oh girl, I'm gonna call. Okay, I'm calling you and let you know that she's not doing it. Now, am I gonna make her do it? No, you can come up here and see, or sometimes a coach, like say something. And I mean, because we care, obviously we're having this function. We want to make sure things are going great, and we want to make sure the kids are getting what they need. Obviously, that's why we, decided to host this particular event. But make sure you're mindful about who you're bringing there, and have that discussion with the people that are in charge in terms of what is she doing? What is she not doing? This is my number. Let me know. And really, we're just calling to inform. That's it. Because again, we can't make these kids do anything, and then you've paid for this service. The service is still happening. They've just chosen not to participate. But not being prepared condition wise also causes injuries, as I've mentioned. So again, we just have to make sure we're prepared for all the things. All right. So number four was to make sure you are conditioned before you arrive. Before you arrive, not the day before, weeks before, months before you arrive. Okay? Go ahead and start right now. That's what you can do. All right, so let's get into number five. Number five is just to commit to the artistry. You have a responsibility as a dancer, because it is a sport, to and while it's fun, you have a responsibility as an artist, as a dancer, to take care of your instrument, to take care of your body. So treat it as you are an artist. Have fun for sure. Have fun. This should be fun, but at the same time, be aware that there are some very important things that must take place in order for you to preserve the industry and for you to be a part of this industry. You enjoy certain aspects of the industry because you've been watching these people, and there are certain things you can pick out that you love about the people that you are following or that have influenced you, right? To be a part of this HBCU dance community. Well, none of those things did not include hard work, so work ethic, making sure that you are prepared, like I've already mentioned, but like the makeup. Okay, recently I did a workshop at a high school, and the coach was mentioning that, oh well, by the way, ladies, on tomorrow you'll be doing a makeup class. And they were so, I mean, they were distraught. Now, never have you ever watched any HBCU dance line and they didn't wear makeup. Never have you ever. So why do you think, even as a high school dancer, that that would be appropriate to not wear makeup? It's a part of the performance. It's a performance. You're not going to the mall, you're not walking down the streets. This is a performance. You can wipe it off as soon as you get on that bus if you want to, but we're all doing it because it's a part of the look. People are filming you, people are taking pictures. There are lights involved, and there are so many other reasons that we paint our faces and create the dimension. There's so many reasons, but it's a part of the role. So if you're going to play the role, we have to make sure we're doing that. Taking care of our hair, whatever the hair is going to be, making sure that's in place and ready to go before we arrive. I don't care if we found out about the workshop the day before, the hair should already be doing something. Okay? I know we had a little in between stages. I get it. I get it. Okay? The girl thing be girling, and sometimes it's just oof. Okay? And I swear the cost of hair goes up by the minute. So somebody on your team do hair. Have them slap you up, ponytail in there or something, so that you're ready to arrive to these workshops. But we have to make sure that we are protecting the industry, we are protecting ourselves, and we are treating ourselves as artists. Okay. And so there's a delicacy with that, there's an essence that comes with that. So let's make sure that we are prepared in such a way. Let's make sure we are professional in our preparation. So we also are practicing speaking when we arrive. We're practicing these type of things because there are some soft skills that I've talked about quite a bit on past episodes, or my guests and I have talked about soft skills that you need to have before attending these workshops. Number 5 is to maintain your artistry and make sure you are taking care of your responsibility to this industry that we call HBCU dance. Okay. Now, I have a little bonus for you because those are my 5 things. I do have a little bonus for you. And I just, something I just want you to do when you get there. Okay. So we're going to do these 5 things before we arrive to the workshop. And we're going to stop arriving to workshops unprepared, to camps, to anything that's hosted by anyone, because remembering these are our first impressions. We need to make sure when we get there that we have an intention about the things that we're going to do. We are going to learn a new skill. We are going to, these can be affirmations or however you want to do it, but have an intention. I am going to show full energy in my performance. I am going to meet new people. I am going to exchange information with these people. So our social medias and whatnot. Y'all gonna end up in the same circles. Might even be roommates. Go ahead and exchange information with these people. Y'all gonna be cool. Real cool. Real good friends. So go ahead and get to going. Like, meet somebody. It can happen authentically. You don't have to just walk up to people. It's whoever's next to you. Girl, what's the step? Or can you help me? Or something, right? If they put their bag next to yours, girl, I'm so tired. Whew, that was a good workout, or that was a good practice, or that was a good stretch, or I love that choreography. What you thought about it? Did you meet so and so? Those type of things. You know, those are authentic ways that you can meet new people, but have an intention. If that's your intention to meet new people, it should practice doing that, you know, how you're going to, do the things that you intend to do when you arrive. I also don't advise that you put your bag right next to people. That's actually one of my pet peeves. That's one of my pet peeves when people put their bag right next to mine, or they're like lines, like clusters of bags. Oh, that annoys me so bad because people don't pay attention and they just pick up random things, and now something might be missing. So I just like to, if everybody put their bag on the right, I'm putting mine on the left. Unless they say everybody put your bag right here, even then I'm going to find some little nook and cranny to just put my stuff, because I don't have time for that. And then just making sure I put my stuff right back in my bag. So anyway, I got off on a tangent with that one because y'all can see that's my pet peeve, like I said. But just make sure you have an attention. Also, I want you to make sure that you walk in with a presence that you are, you know, high school or whatever. If you're high school, if you're middle school, maybe you still working on that skill, but have a sense of independency. Don't come walking in there skipping and holding hands with your mama. And then she got to tell you, get your bag, put your stuff in there. Okay, go ahead and go inside. Oh, you got to sign in right here. That is a turn off. Like, girl, what? Especially when you're a senior. Just a turn off. Don't do that. Okay, mom and them got to let go. Got to let go. So just be mindful of that as you're walking in. Parents have practiced this. You know, do this stuff outside. Let them put their stuff in their bag outside and all that. Don't come walking in there holding their bag and giving it to them. That's not what this is. Okay. Let them come on in, let them sign in, and then they walk in class. I'm not saying don't come in, because I'm definitely not taking my child nowhere. I can't go. Right. So boom, you walk in, cool. Hey, yeah, that's my daughter. Y'all get her. She acts up. Y'all get her, and be out, and be out of there. So no need to linger. No need. No need. She's fine. He's fine. No need to linger. Get out of there. But they need to be able to survive on their own. And especially if they're a senior and they're going to go off to college, they have to already have practiced some sort of responsibility when it comes to their independency. So just let them go. Just let them go. You let them go. Um People are really watching, like, how, the girls are carrying themselves, and you have to remember, on a collegiate team, the band is traveling, and the kids go places by themselves, and there are no real chaperones, for real. I mean, these people are grown. So you have band staff, but there's not like some people's parents coming on these trips. They're gonna be governing themselves for the most part. So we got to start that now. Your kid is in high school, your dancer's in high school, we got to start now. Um, and then when you walk in, be confident, show up. I mean, show up in the biggest way. Especially if there's no particular attire. If you don't tell me to wear all black, baby, I'm coming in some hot pink, off one shoulder situation, something. Have some pop of, like, your top. Just make it top pop. You don't have to have on a full uniform, but the top definitely needs to pop. You can do a plain black bottom, but you definitely need something so they can be like, the girl in the pink. We give nicknames all the time. Oh, I love her. We don't have know the kids' names ever. But after we've said, oh yeah, Miss Pinky, or pink top. Oh yeah. After we done talked about pink top, ruffle top, blue top, we done talked about that all day. So at the end, we're like, oh, come here. What's your name? And we're following. Like, everybody wants to see you win at that point. I just want to see where she's gonna end up. She's amazing. She just in 11th grade. Oh, she's amazing. I can't wait. I'm gonna be watching her. So you just want to make sure you have something. There's no attire. Go in there with and shine. You better stand out. You better be full out, whether it's perfect or not. So again, before you arrive, there are 5 things that we need to do. But once you get there, baby, set the floor on fire. Make sure they remember that you were there. People need to know your name. So if you've prepared, when you get there, there's no reason why you shouldn't walk out of there with everybody saying, "Oh my God, you were amazing." People don't say that to people that were mediocre. You had to have been in there working the room. Working the room, laying everybody out. And then everybody would give you your props. Just walk in the room and be undeniable. But you can't do that if you have not prepared in a way. And those 5 things that I gave you are paramount to your success when you walk into the room. You command the space in the room. You are undeniable in the room, at the workshop, at the camp, at the conference, wherever. You have to be undeniable in the room. Make them watch you, but you have to do the work. You have to do the work. So, with all of that said, I love y'all. I really do. But please don't go to another workshop and not have done the 5 days that I gave you. Please, please don't go until you've done them. If you need assistance with accomplishing any of the things that I mentioned, you need to make sure you contact Choreo U Dance. That's choreo like choreography, the letter U, dance on Instagram, Facebook, and this YouTube channel. All right. Also on this YouTube channel is the podcast, Major Business Podcast, housed on the Choreo U Dance YouTube. That's on purpose because we're all in this place together. We're all in this community together. So let's make sure we contact, and more than likely we'll engage, you and I. And then whether it's a coach, it's a parent, it's a dancer, we'll engage first, and then I can filter you out to my team depending on the needs, because we have to base everything on the needs and the interests of the child. Also, we're looking at the skills, and so based on the skills and the age or grade level, there may be some different options or different paths we have to take. So we have to do an assessment to figure that out. So all these things have to take place. Let's just not wait till senior year though, because then y'all gonna stress us out. Um, Nobody, and that's when I say us, I'm talking about all of us in the community, stressing us out senior year. But yes, let's make sure that we're reaching out. If you don't have a person, a coach in your network that you can go to, or your personal coach or whomever that you can go to that can give you sound advice as to what to do next, or how to prepare, or how to plan for your HBCU audition, which could be coming up in a month, in a week, next year, 3 years, 5 years from now. If you plan to take the route of HBCU dance, you have to go and train beyond practice. And that's at these workshops and things that I'm talking about. But again, we cannot show up fully at these workshops, conference, and clinics that I'm talking about if we have not done the work. And the work are the 5 things that I told you to do. So do them. And again, if you cannot do them on your own, you have to reach out to somebody, and that's me. That's my organization called Choreo U Dance. All right. So thank you guys for watching. This is the Major Business Podcast. And again, like I've said before, I'm your host, Vershion Lee. And if you want to know more about me, scroll it on back to our very first episode to find out my background and what we've done with Choreo U Dance and how we got here today to the Major Business Podcast. All right, so I love y'all a lot. I just care. I care about your future. So also please make sure you go and follow us on the Major Business Pod on Instagram. Lots of great things happening over there, and I want to see y'all there too. Okay. All right. Well, love you guys.